You all, we are not licensed professionals. You know, we are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, you know, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Friendship University podcast. I'm Miki, and I am joined by my... I was going to say a bonnet. A head sleeve. A headscarf. My headscarf, sleeve, bonnet wearing co-host.
That's very great.
Kristen.
You see how it just trips you up on the spot?
I get it now. I get it. Like, you know, I could have thought of so many other things, but I looked at you and I was just like, huh, okay, what's she wearing?
She's got a bonnet on. A long bonnet.
A long bonnet.
So...
Do you have a promo code for the long bonnets? We no?
They're not partnered with us yet, but if you would like to personally DM me and I'll tell you where I got the bonnet from.
It's a very nice bonnet. I've seen some bonnets in my life, and that one looks good. Doesn't have like the little like, you know, when people have bonnets and I guess they like to wash them and like they dry them and like they start having like those little beads and stuff popping up.
This is
and
kind
like
of like a satin in the back, so I wash it. I just washed it today, actually. No problems.
You didn't buy it from like one of them whites who charge like, what was it? Well, there was one girl, I think, when bonnets became like more known to the white community. And she was like, yeah, I'm selling headscarves, elegant headscarves, $100. She was charging like $100 for headscarves.
I'm glad I don't remember that because that would have really pissed me off. But no, this is from the good old beauty supply store.
Period.
I think Keisha Cole may have been on the box.
Okay, come on, brand deal.
So, I don't know though. But yes, I get all of my things like this from the beauty supply store because I'm not wearing it for fashion. I'm just wearing it to protect my
I'm surprised
hair.
you didn't hear about this.
It
It may not have been recent.
It could have been. Are you talking about when the person opened the store in LA? Is that what you're talking about?
No, she was selling them online and she was like advertising it like she invented the bonnet or whatever. And she was like, oh, it's going to keep your hair nice and safe and sleek and all that stuff and protected from your pillow at night. You know, things that Black people have been doing since the start of time.
And white
and she was like, oh my God, like it's just made my hair so healthy. And they start at $100.
Oh gosh, now I'm going to find it offline because I can't believe... You know, I just do not understand the obsession. Why are you so obsessed with me? I'm not paying $100 for a bonnet, girl. And the truth be told, my black card could actually be revoked at any time because when I don't have braids or things in my hair, I actually don't wear bonnets to bed. I should. I just be forgetting.
Don't feel bad. I'm probably going to get my card removed too because... When I had dreads, yeah, I wore a do-rag. But outside of that, it'd be this head on this pillow. I don't wear do-rags to sleep. I don't wear bonnets to sleep. Mind you, I don't have a tremendous amount of hair right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm growing it out again. Probably not going back to locks. That was a lot of work. But...
You gotta get over the hump.
The hump was too high, girl. The hump was humping because the locks they were getting them tightened hurt, like especially on the corners, like the edges. That shit, I was tearing up. You gotta wash them, but you can't wash them a certain way. And you know, I work out a lot, so I'm always sweating and I'm always warm. So it's not for me. If you have dreads, all power to you. I think dreads look incredible most of the time. I wish I could have stuck out with it, but and also the style I wanted where like my sides were cut, but it was just dreads on top. That's a really hard like haircut to maintain because like you have to constantly make sure your sides are shaved, but you don't want to like nick your lock at the top and then shave it off.
With a head full of locks and then do your sides.
I'm just not going to deal with the locks. Like I said, I had my lock phase. I did it. It was like a year. It was fun. I got some cute pictures of it, but those days are behind me now.
That's I get it. Yeah, I'm just not I don't know. I should. I will do a good when my hair. I just wash and do a wash and go, or I do like a twist out or whatever. I'll do a nice pineapple and go to sleep. Like I'll put my hair in a hair bow.
You are good for a pineapple.
And I'll put my hair in a pineapple, and I do also sleep with it just ripped recently, but I gotta get another one. But I have silk or satin pillowcase.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, that probably helps a little bit. Yeah.
So I never really slept.
I just be sleeping in the least amount of clothes possible, which is absolutely no clothes. I sleep butt ass naked, including my head.
I will say what helps is if you get the bonnets with the drawstrings, so you can tie it up and tighten it to your head. Because when I tell you, my bonnet used to go off of my head, go down the steps.
Make a glass of milk.
Put on the television, binge watch a Netflix series, and then scroll back up to the steps to my head in the morning.
But not on your head.
Not on my head, right next to me. Okay. Right next to me on the pillow. So
yeah, my dude used to do the same thing. I'd be like, how did that happen?
I will look up Bethany Bonisha, because apparently you want to be black so bad. I'll look you up, girl, and we'll see what you're talking about. Maybe next week I'll come with my 2 cents on it, but that's infuriating. It goes back to the whole conversation of braids and all of that, and I don't even got time for that. It's just, the good Lord's taking vengeance on that, because that girl who got on TikTok and boasted about her braids only to lose all of her hair because you didn't know how to properly take them out. You see how if you don't, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
I had to Google it.
So
it was in 2019.
Dang, that was recent.
White woman claims she invented the hair bonnet, and Black Twitter tells her to go back to whipping it. What is that?
Whipperstan?
I don't know what that is.
They need, first of all, this is the reason God is bringing plagues upon us, because you whites don't know how to not try to reinvent the wheel. Just stop. Y'all see, I can't say that it's surprising. It's not the first time. It won't be the last. Nothing new is under the sun. So
I want you to know that I went to the website and she calls them nightcaps. And they are $98.
You know what? That reminds me
of... get your bag, girl. I ain't gonna hold you. She also sells scrunchies. You want to know how much the scrunchies are? $32. $32 rubber bands. Get your money, baby.
I'm gonna call the Better Business Bureau, because that site's gonna be down before the end of the month. Because that reminds me of that lady Jennifer Buck, who wrote that book called Bad and Bougie, toward a trap feminist movement, and she was white. And people were like, what? And there was a black woman on the cover of the book. And people were like,
there's a black woman also on the cover of well, let me phrase that. There is a racially ambiguous lady on the front of this website here.
See, no, that lady was black. See, why you gotta do that? Why you can't just, you didn't even try. You weren't even like, oh, I really feel like these are cool. Let me put a little artistic design on them, make it my own. And then this one is like, you gonna act like you invented it, girl?
That's what gets me. Like, sell your bonnet, girl, but don't take claim of it. Like, what are we doing?
It's gonna protect your hair. My hair has never been healthier. First of all, your hair will be healthy if you didn't go from shower to flat iron. Because I've seen it with my own eyes, having had a Hawaii roommate. So that's actually number one. And then don't try to tease it to make it as big as an afro. That could probably also help. But I'm no cosmetologist, I'm no hair expert, whatever. Get your blood diamond money. Because if you invented it, it is what it is. We are here another week, apparently, and I'm still learning that thieves gonna thieve.
Thieves gonna thieve.
People gonna do what they want to do. So do what you want to do. So we're back for another episode of Friendship University, the podcast where we come on and we just try to be a little less trash in hopes that we'll encourage you to be a little less trash every week. We can hop right into our pop culture.
Damn, you gonna ask me how I'm doing?
Oh, I'm so sorry. That threw me off.
I'm just chopped liver. That white woman is
that
really
woman is chopped liver.
And
it really has scrambled my brain.
She is running laps in your head. And she is calculating over here. She's so confused.
I can't not understand why people do things like this.
Like, if y'all could see it right now, I can see the math equations going across her face.
Let's rewind it back. How are you doing this today? How's your last 7 days been?
You're good.
I'm frazzled.
It's okay. I was frazzled before I told her how it was.
I cannot believe this exists. $100. You can go down to the beauty code right now. Even if you want to spruce it up, let me just tell you. Even if you want to spruce it up, be like, I'm going to Sally's Beauty because bitch, you know Sally's is at the top.
Sally,
you're gonna pay $7.99 max for a bonnet,
and they may throw in some free coconut oil for you.
Okay, that's the long one for the locks and the braids and the such.
It's okay. You have the right to be frazzled because I was frazzled before our podcast just now because I realized that we are 1 year today from voting for our next president.
Yeah, you know what?
And I'm not ready. I'm not ready emotionally, spiritually, mentally, financially, any Lee you could think of. I'm not ready. But we're not going to get into that right now. We have a whole year. Hopefully we make it. Anyway, so I am good. I am good, but not good. Hear me out. So conceptually, like as the idea or whatever, I'm trying to make this sound so like deep. I'm good in a lot of aspects. Like mentally, I'm pretty good. You know, a lot of good things are coming my way. A lot of things are going well. But there's also these other things that are not going well, which I guess is kind of like what life is. Life is never 100% perfect.
Absolutely.
So we'll just run you through a few of it. By a few of it, I mean one specific thing.
Oh, gosh. I'm about to get red.
So I was driving home from my nephew's lovely birthday party. He just turned 10.
Happy birthday, nephew.
Yes, happy birthday, my little nigga. Love you. We still have beef, and I told you what that beef was about, but that's between you and I. So anyway,
you get your revenge. I support you, little nigga.
Little nigga, I love you to death. But yes, he's 10. He's the oldest one of my sister's children. Happy birthday to you. Really smart kid. Really great kid. We got beef, but I love him. Anyway, so he had a very lovely party, which before I even get into my thing about me, these kids don't know how good they have it. My sister got them a gaming truck. I didn't even know this was a thing. Great idea. Side note, if you're wanting like a side gig, really good idea.
Gaming
truck.
It's
this guy. He runs his own business. Like it's his job. He literally just does this. He had like this F-250 or something like that with a trailer on the back, like a decent sized trailer where people can walk inside and stuff like that. The side of the truck had like a big TV and like where you could like plug in like switches and stuff so people could be playing outside. But you go inside, you got PS5s, you got VR, you got Xboxes, you got PCs, like a bunch of TVs just plopped up. You know, Battle and Brew?
Yeah.
It's giving Battle and Brew on wheels.
That I'm doing next year.
And these kids
That's my birthday.
were in there for all about 30 minutes.
30 What? 30 minutes?
These kids were like, we want to play outside. We want to play basketball.
Oh, wow. Oh, see, but that's your sister not reading the room because...
No. I'll give my sister a little bit of props on here because my nephew asked her for like 2 years. So he went to a party. Apparently he went to a party like one of his friends years ago and had it. And he was like, he apparently begged his mom for like 2 years. I mean, apparently I don't keep up with these kind of things. I don't have kids. I don't have to worry about these kind of things. One thing I have to worry about is, does Loki need a new, fake rat to play with? But anyway, so apparently he was begging for it for a while, and she finally was like, yeah, caved in, did it, whatever. I mean, I showed up a little bit late. I think the party started at 5, and I got there at like 5:30, I think, more or less. Maybe it was like 5:45. But when I got there, them kids were slowly trickling out. They were like, all right, cool, we're done. And I was just like, this is why I can't have kids. Because the way I would have locked all of them in there.
Oh, no. Now we in Saul.
Okay, you get in the truck, get in the van, get in there.
Will you appreciate life?
Will you appreciate
answer
this
question? I can't do the Saul voice, but however he does it, would have been.
That's it. Because the way I would have been like, if you don't put that basketball up and get in that truck. But anyway,
you can play basketball. But I'm not mad at it. That's what I said. Read the room, because you gotta know your kids. Because my nieces and nephews don't like to go outside. Not the ones here in Atlanta, at least.
Do kids go outside anymore? Really?
Some kids do. They like to see your nephew likes to play basketball. I do know some kids who like to go out and ride bikes, skateboard.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah, do stuff like
Back
that.
in the day, we used to just go outside.
They don't hang around the hot water heater or anything anymore like we used to. They don't.
We used to hang out around the I don't think they have them
AC
here.
Thing.
That little green box thing.
Oh, yeah.
We used to hang around the green box.
The electric,
play what was it? Tag. We used to play Manhunt. All that stuff. Anyway, it was just kind of like
I don't know if the kids do that anymore. I do
need
know
to.
that
Bring
they
Manhunt
like
back.
to. One of my nephews does like to skateboard, so he be outside with his friends and stuff.
all power to you.
And then some of them like to ride bikes and stuff. They're not riding their bike as far as I was, because now they have cell phones and Life 360, so
Okay.
they're being tracked. But meanwhile,
Don't
my
leave this
bike took
cul-de-sac.
me.
Don't leave this
Baby,
cul-de-sac.
let me tell you something. The grace of God, because my bike took me to Never Never Land.
It's probably my mind.
All the way on the other side of town. Physically, I was all the way on the other side. I would ride my bike for miles to see friends, or just ride just to feel the wind on my back. I would be gone as long as I was back from them street lights.
Street lights had to be on. I lived in a big neighborhood, so we just rode around the neighborhood a lot. But so yeah, happy birthday to you again, little nigga. It was really an interesting comparison, because I was like, when I was 10, I think I went to a Chuck E. Cheese party, and I'm not gonna lie, that pizza was pretty bussin'. Side note, Chuck E. Cheese has some pretty decent pizza. But anyway,
it's Pasquale's. They sell it now. You can order it.
For real?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some of that. But anyway, so back to the problem.
Okay.
So, after the party, hung out with Boo for a little bit, watched Five Nights at Freddy, which was not very good. But moving on past that,
I was gonna go see it.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, so I was driving home. The way I was going home was like a back road where it was one lane going that way, one lane going the opposite way, bunch of trees, no lights. There's nowhere you could pull over. Like it was just you go. So I'm driving home. I remember the song I was playing. I was playing Charlotte DeWitt's new song, Priya. It's a very good techno song. I was driving home. Okay, driving. And then all of a sudden, like in a split, so you've been in an accident, right? Mm-hmm. When an accident happens, like it's like time slows down.
Yeah.
It's like becomes the Matrix.
Yeah.
All I saw was eyeballs. I saw like a shadow move into the street, stop. I saw eyeballs and a face look up at me, and the next thing I heard was something cracking.
Oh.
So I hit what I thought it was, because I've never hit an animal before. Not that I go out of my way not to hit animals, but if I see something, I'll try to slow down. Right. Like I'm not gonna swerve and like do whatever, but I'll slow down or I'll honk and try to get it out of the way. Whatever the case may be. But circumstantially, I just also have never really had to come across like a deer while driving. Like I seen one like on the side of the road, like thinking about it, but like I've noticed it before it was gonna do anything, so I was able to prepare. This is my first time running into an animal. Dang. What I thought it was a dog. You know me in my relationship with animals, especially dogs and cats. So my immediate response was crying.
Oh, God.
I wasn't worried about my car.
I'm pretty sure
I wasn't worried about myself. All I said was, and I started crying because I was just like, I just killed someone's dog. I feel like complete shit. Like, and I couldn't just pull over because no one was behind me, and it was like maybe midnight at that time. So like, I could have pulled over, but I was also nervous that like someone could have came around the corner and hit me too. So I kept driving.
Because those kind of streets, they be having like dips
and stuff, right? Like you couldn't really pull over. So I drive down the road, pull over to the side. It was a bit like the point where I could pull to the side, because it was like at least a half a mile after where it happened. I pulled to the side. My initial thought was, let me just go ahead and call the cops real quick.
Yeah.
So, just so I can get a report, make sure everyone's good, whatever, just in case this is someone's dog, I would want them to know that their dog just, died.
Yeah.
So I called the cops, waiting for him, and then I decided to go look at my vehicle. I drive a Grand Cherokee. It's a pretty decent sized SUV. Not massive like a Suburban, but it's still a pretty decent sized SUV. Mm-hmm. Whatever I hit fucked up the whole right side of my car.
Couldn't have been a dog.
The fender was like fucked up. Everything, the lights falling out. Like I said, I never hit an animal before. And I always assumed like if you hit a deer, it was game over. Like I thought if you ever time hit a deer, like it was total car. It's a wrap. Like there's nothing.
It depends on how big the deer is, how big it, because your car is pretty big. And the pictures you show, it really did make a
right. But my car's not totaled. I don't think. I haven't taken it to the body shop yet. It shouldn't be totaled, but. If they want to total it, knock yourselves out. I can go get a new one. But anyway, so I thought it was, this whole time I thought it was a dog still. Because I never hit an animal. I was just sobbing and crying. I'm calling my partner. I'm calling my mom. I'm like, I heard the spine crack.
Not you heard the spine crack.
Like I said, I was bumping techno and I heard that crack. Like I heard something.
Crack of your car.
No, I heard the crack of bone. I've never heard anybody's bones break before in real life, but I imagine that's what it sounds like.
You heard your bottom bumper getting...
It was, that sound will never leave my brain. But anyway, so the cop pulls up or whatever, and he's like, oh, just explain to me what happened or whatever. Very nice gentleman, short little Asian guy. Very nice. But he was like, he came the direction I was driving. He was like, I didn't see an animal or anything like that. So that's what led me to think it was a deer. And he also looked at the car. He was just like, I'm not going to hold you. There's not a dog that would have done that much damage to your car. So, Bambi, part of me wants to say, I hope you're okay. And I hope you're, hopefully you got home to wherever you're going safely. Another part of me, Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi. Ooh. Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi. Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi. Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi, it's on site. It's on site because you fucked up my baby, my poor baby.
See, but you got, if it was, Bambi's almost always lost so much. The mama died.
That don't mean you gotta kill yourself. Go to therapy. Why'd you run out in front of my car? Why would you do that? All this road.
I wanna kill my mom. I wanna kill my dad.
Bambi knows she wrong for that. She was like, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. We ball. But like I said, the cop said he didn't see an animal, so hopefully it's living. But again, Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi. Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi. Bambi, when I catch you, Bambi. So anyway, outside of that, I'm doing pretty good. I wasn't hurt. The car in theory will be fixed, but I have full coverage insurance. So even if they decide to total it, I'll still get a new car. I got a rental vehicle. Yeah. New job still going well overall, and been going to. This is the third week of my 6-week challenge.
50% done.
50% over with this, yes. But yeah, it's been going well. I've actually been making friends at the gym, which has been nice. I normally don't talk to people at the gym. I'm here to work out and leave. But everyone's very friendly. Everyone's very supportive. Is going in the right direction. Actually, I just got my in-body results, which is the thing they use to scan your body. So I have lost.
You had to go in that little machine naked? Not naked.
Not naked. I take my shoes off, yeah. So I've gained a pound of muscle.
Okay.
I've lost... Oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I read that right. I gained a pound of muscle and I've lost 4 pounds of body fat.
Come
on the right track, it's the journey. So it takes time to get there. But we'll get there. So I'm doing good. How are you doing, friend? Also, I love how that's been resurfacing.
Sorry.
All of a sudden. It's the journey.
It's the journey. I'm happy to hear that. That's so good. So you're feeling better? You're feeling good?
I am feeling better. I feel more awake. I feel more like alert and stuff like that. Like before, like me, I'm good for a nap. I was good for like I need to lay down during lunch, or I need to go close my eyes, or I need to lay horizontal. But I don't really take naps anymore. I'd be making it through the entire day without wanting to go lay down. Excuse me. I'm not always yawning and tired all the time and stuff like that. So I definitely do feel the difference for sure.
Endorphin. Wow. Meanwhile, I'm good.
What's wrong?
as you were saying that, she just yawned her soul out.
Oh, I had turned over to burp. I was like, did y'all hear that? Or like, what?
No. You were like, I don't need to take any more naps, and all your...
Oh, my fault. I'm sorry. I didn't catch on to that.
No, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's think. What's happened? This past weekend was pretty, not relaxed, but...
I feel like you've done so much these past few weekends where I'm trying to think, like, what did you do?
They're running through. I just had to run some errands and get some things done. It's been a pretty solid week, just preparing for some trips that are coming up. I'll talk about those as they get a little closer and just different things like that. But I will be traveling soon, so I've been trying to prepare for that, and work and personal and work again. It's been pretty like just relax. Like I'm kind of in a routine, back into a slight routine, and I have a friend that's moving, so I'm just like helping them with that. It's just like, you know, the basics of life. Nothing too dramatic. I'm not in a boot camp losing 4% body fat, even though I should be.
Don't do that. Because you are killing it every day. You go on multiple runs. You've been running
I've been on a run though in probably like 2 weeks.
Better than mine not running at all for like a year.
I don't know what's going on. I gotta get some motivation. And the thing is, like, the thing is, you have to tell yourself, like, you have to do it even without motivation. That's the formula to consistency. Like, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not motivated to do it, you have to do it to teach yourself. And when people say teach yourself, it doesn't get easier.
Right.
So it's not like oh, well, if I go for 6 months, after those 6 months, every day I'll feel like doing it. No, it's going to be a consistent thing where you may go 4 days with like hype energy, and then that 5th day you're like, oh, I ain't feeling it, but you got to tell yourself, I'm gonna do it anyway. So mind over matter, battle things.
That's not like group fitness. Going to a group fitness class makes it a little bit easier for me.
I've heard that, and maybe I'll have to try that. I've heard that. I've heard that group fitness really does wonders,
especially if you have a good group. Like, because I would go 4 days a week, and they're like, nah, you gotta come 5, you gotta come tomorrow, and like, part of me wants to go tomorrow, because like, they're hyping me up, I'm like, I have to go tomorrow.
See, so when I would go to the gym, that would help. I would make gym friends, and they would hype me up, and they'd be like, so I'm gonna see you tomorrow at 6 a.m., right? And go in, yeah, and I would go in, but then things would, I'd be like, oh God, I'm just falling off. So maybe I'll try boot camp. I don't want to. We're in the big back season, so we left out of unbigging your back. The summer was to unbig your back, and now we're in big back season. Because the holidays are coming up, niggas gonna be eating yams, turkey, greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, hog. You name it.
Big.
They're going to be eating it.
Jesus.
And I don't want to be a part of that. I want to continue to unbig my back.
Please make this a hashtag. I need it.
I really want to continue the work that I have done to unbig my back, to go on, to continue to unbigging my back. I don't want to reverse. I don't want to like skirt back. It's holiday. You gotta be honest with yourself. And I'm gonna eat. But I also need to balance.
I'm dying. Oh my God.
So you're doing good. You're unbigging your back before,
I'm trying to have the least biggest back I can have come next summer.
But the silverback ape is on our ass.
Oh.
And we gotta do something. So
y'all go ahead and get your backs unbig out there, alright?
I'm gonna try my best to do what I can. Traveling and scheduling and stuff, which is not an excuse, because a lot of the places I've been have had gyms in the hotels or, you know, things like that. So I can work out. I can. I'm gonna make a declaration to myself. The next trip I go, I'm gonna take my workout stuff. I'm gonna go to the gym or do what I need to do, or go for a run or whatever, depending on the area that I'm in. I'm gonna do it. So I can't use the excuse of traveling because you can still do it when you're traveling. Yeah, but I just want to get in a rhythm. But I think I told you before, like, I just really don't like going to the gym.
That's fair.
And
it's not
me.
for everybody.
But I feel like there's a certain, I've reached a plateau. Like, I can't do what I'm doing anymore. I have to start, like, lifting heavier because the weights that I have on my possession aren't heavy enough to give me the gains that I want. So I need to start going to the gym. I need to start, like, incorporating some of those exercises into my regimen.
Right.
But yeah, that's me. I'm cool. I bought some Converse this weekend.
Okay. What color?
I bought a, like, khaki tan color, almost the color of, like, the traditional Dickie suit.
Okay.
And then I got these black ones with some, like, gold stars on them and stuff. They were cute. Both of them were on sale. I haven't bought Converse in a very long time. So, it was nice to go out, buy some sneakers, buy some Converse, and, like, I'm going to wear them. And I needed some closed-toe shoes for the winter outside of, like, just boots.
Right.
So I was like, let me go look. I was going to get some Nikes, like some Forces or something, or maybe like some Dunks. And I was just like, I don't know. I just go for Converse. Yeah. So, but I am looking to get some new running shoes. But yeah, that's that. And I'm here.
You're here. We're here together.
Yeah, we're here together. I don't have a huge update this week.
That's okay. But sometimes lives don't have updates, and that's okay.
Yeah,
enjoy it while you can, because once you start getting updates, like Bambi, you're gonna wish you didn't have any updates.
I most of my life has revolved around my corporate job the last few weeks, honestly, because we just have so much to do in such a short amount of time. Yeah. I'm just focused on that right now, and that's okay.
That's okay.
So
get that money, hun.
It's keeping the wheel rolling on this, but you niggas need to do your part too. We're trying. I'm just trying my best, but the funding ain't funding. Come on, people, do your part. Anywho, so getting into our frop culture, friendship pop culture. I don't know.
Not frop culture. I kind of like it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw, there was a young lady who posted her lunch at work, and she said her coworker called HR on her for her lunch. The lunch consisted of a can of tuna. Inside of the can of tuna, she just popped open the can, and Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce.
I'm sorry, that was a reaction that came out on accident.
So I would just like to know, you don't eat seafood.
Especially not, if I'm gonna eat seafood, it's not gonna be tuna.
I do eat tuna. I like me a good can of tuna. I also like tuna steak. I like tuna and sushi.
What the fuck is tuna steak?
I like tuna tartare. I like all kinds of tuna. I also appreciate Sweet Baby Ray's. I don't eat it often, but I know what it tastes like, and it's good. If you need a little barbecue sauce and that's what you got in the refrigerator, it's going to do the job. Tuna and Sweet Baby Ray's is not mixing for me. Your thoughts?
I would call HR, the police, Fox 5 News, Channel 2 Action News, Miss Blankenship, whatever her name is on the news. I would call everybody, because one, tuna and barbecue sauce. I don't know what tuna tastes like. I've never had it. I'm very much a nasal eater. Like, if something smells bad to me, I'm not going to really be able to eat it. And I think that's why I don't like seafood a whole bunch, because seafood does have a smell to me where I'm like, it smells like potent. Water. It smells like salt water. So maybe that's why I don't like seafood too much. But I'm not gonna lie, I did have some. What was that? I had some kind of fish the other day. Not a whole lot. It was just like a little forkful, and it was actually pretty good. But anyway, probably not gonna go back to that. Moving on. But if I was gonna eat seafood, tuna would be on the very, very, very bottom of the list, next to clam or oysters. Because with barbecue sauce, like you can put that on a sandwich or something.
It wasn't.
No.
And I have seen like hickory smoked. So you can buy packs of tuna. And I've seen like hickory smoked and stuff like that packs where people get that kind of like smoky taste or that barbecue-y taste. But barbecue sauce is really taking it to another level. I feel like it should have never been. And I too would have called HR. I would have called HR because I would have reported her for a hate crime against the tuna fish, against myself. The Sweet Baby Ray's does not deserve that.
The Sweet Baby Ray's does not deserve that.
Sweet Baby Ray's.
Because you know it was probably the tuna with the little whale on it too. The little blue whale. I don't know the name of it.
You didn't even take it out of the can, girl.
Can
was
you do
just
that?
like,
I thought you had to cook tuna.
No, the canned tuna is already cooked.
I'm sorry, I'm like throwing up in my mouth thinking about it. Like the smell of tuna is so disgusting. Like of all seafoods, that one really makes my stomach turn.
It does. Tuna, I'll tell you though, there are different grades of tuna. People don't know. So like, cause like I said, I eat the tuna. You can get like the basic ones that come in a can, and they're like a little bit of a lighter color. And if you put them in comparison to what like a tuna steak or a higher brand of pre-prepared tuna looks like, the color doesn't compare. There's a difference between like the variation, like the brightness in it, because it's been cooked down so far. But yeah, I mean, tuna has its place. Don't get me wrong. I will throw a packet of tuna on a good salad. I will make some tuna salad myself with relish and all of that.
No, but it kind of reminds me of a coworker I had. Also, I don't remember what job it was, but I do remember her because we all worked in like a room together. Like we were like the back office people. We all worked in his office, and she would come to work with like chitterlings and all this other stuff. All that other stuff. I'd be like, I'm gonna throw up.
I think you're getting to it. This is my last point on this. You have to be conscientious of the foods that you're bringing into an office full of other people.
Right.
So
go eat in your car. Go eat outside.
I'm not going to pop open a can of tuna in the break room with other people around for the smell to just permeate.
Remember we used to work with someone who used to bring... Wait a second. You're the someone who used to do that. Wait a minute. I was going to say, remember that time we had that girl who used to bring hard-boiled eggs?
Actually,
you were the one who did it.
No, let's actually tell the full story. I would make them beforehand, and they would be in a plastic bag, and I would be all the way in the back room, and you with your Snoop Doggy Dog nose would be like, who the fuck is eating boiled eggs? Nobody else would be like, who's eating boiled eggs? Because I'm all the way in the back room. You would be like, oh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Who chose you? And like, who's eating boiled eggs? And I'd be like, I'm actually in the back eating boiled eggs. And I only did that a couple of times, actually. First of all.
Once too many, girl. You need to eat that in the car.
And so... But I also realized that was a permanent spell, so I would go to the back and eat them. So I'm just like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. You don't have to like do that in front of people. You don't have to like, because even like I would bring salmon and stuff, and nobody would smell it because I would either like have it in a hill seat container, or it would be warm and I would put it in a warm container or a warm lunchbox and eat it in my car or whatever. You just have to be mindful of the people around you. And then you don't know who has like allergies and stuff like that. So it's just like, okay. So popping a can of tuna and putting Sweet Baby Ray's on it.
Absolutely not. I'm calling the police.
I'm
calling the cops. I'm calling the FBI.
Staying in the lane of food, we have the infamous salad going around with ribs on it. So there's a salad, lettuce, I guess tomato. All I saw was lettuce, cheese, maybe a cucumber, maybe an onion, and then the ribs.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't see the problem with putting a. I mean, I wouldn't do it personally speaking, but I don't see a problem with it if your intention is just to have something tasty. But like healthy wise, probably not the best idea. I feel like maybe,
No.
but like it's kind of like when people be like, "Oh, I'm eating healthy," but meanwhile you got like a half a thing of dressing on there. You got croutons filled to the brim. The cheese is half the salad. Y'all really be thinking y'all be eating healthy because y'all got a few greens on the plate.
You may as well be eating the black Cobb salad, the salad that's half lettuce, half cheese, half egg, half ham, half French dressing, half bacon bits, half croutons. You may as well be eating that.
They, like I said, y'all really be thinking y'all doing something because y'all got a few greens on the plate. Like, I'm healthy. I'm getting snack. I'm unbigging my back.
Are saturated by rib fat. What do you think is gonna happen?
They really be thinking they unbigging their back. Meanwhile, they. Like I said, if you're just sticking to salads like that and you trying to lose weight, you're probably not doing yourself a good job. The dressing be getting people. Y'all like to douse your stuff in dressing. Dressing is really not good.
So here's the thing about dressing. Ranch dressing, which black people love. Let's be clear.
Not I. Ranch
dressing and ribs. So what dressing are you putting on top? So you're putting barbecue sauce on top with lettuce. It's just not 1 + 2 is not equaling 4, or 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. Like, I'm just like, okay, if you want to have the ribs and the salad, why not keep it separate? I'm also someone who does not like warm with cold. When I go to restaurants and I order like salads and specific things, I ask for my meats on the side.
Makes sense.
Because I just don't like the lettuce melding with that warm.
I can respect that.
meat.
I normally let my stuff, if I go to a restaurant, I usually if I go to a restaurant, I guess I just like suffer with it. I just suck it up. But like if I go home with a salad, like I'll typically let it get to like the same temperature, maybe like room temp or like both cold temp.
But it's like you're not gonna eat a cold rib, so the rib has to be hot going on top of the lettuce. It just is not making sense.
I mean, nothing these people do make sense, but enjoy your rib salad.
I mean, it could be good in theory to have rib meat on top of it, but these were bone fatty ribs on top of
a whole rat
salad mix. Somebody went to Walmart and got the Great Value salad mix, put it in a bowl, and then put some ribs on top. No dressing, no nothing. Just, would you eat this?
Right. No, I'm good.
All right, moving on. So we have Young Jeezy, who's a rapper.
I know who that is. Mm-hmm.
He sat down in an interview with Mia Long, who is an actress.
Mm-hmm. Know who that is, yeah.
Okay. I didn't personally see the full interview. I don't know if the full interview is out yet. When I saw this, it was just a clip, and they were like, coming soon or whatever. But they were speaking about a lot of things, being black and black men in the community and forgiving and all kind of stuff. And then he started talking about his sexual experiences and how they started at a very young age, and that like shaped his perception of what sexuality was supposed to be. And Nia Long is pretty much saying like, so are you saying like you were molested? And he agreed. He was like, yeah.
Oh.
I was molested. So I thought it would be interesting to discuss, because when you hear molestation, it's like a younger person. Obviously, I think the core of it is a predator, an older person, a younger person who they take advantage of. But for him, it was almost like what I've seen with a lot of men, especially black men, of I'm a 14, 15-year-old with a 21 or 18 or 22-year-old or older person who I may have not known, who I had a sexual encounter with, who didn't necessarily, I don't want to say coerce, but like, they knew how young-minded the person was, and they felt like they were doing them a favor by giving them this sexual experience.
They're weird.
Yeah.
And disgusting.
I've heard this trope with a lot of black men before. Kev on stage talks about it. How he didn't realize that he was a victim of sexual assault because he was maybe like 14 or something, and the girl was a sister of his friend who was maybe like 18 or 19.
Right.
And they like, and you're thinking like, oh, we get to sleep with these girls, and we like, get to be the man.
When you're young, you don't really think about the long-term effects that might have on you. And I don't know about this interview. I'm not familiar with it. I think it's really cool that he can admit that. I mean, he may not be. I mean, I'm not gonna say he doesn't feel shame about it, because you never know what the person feels about it. But it may be a little easier to like talk about it, like because you're like far removed from it at this
He's
point.
In his 40s.
Like you're in your 40s. This happened so long ago, and like come from the guy's perspective, like, and this really sucks for me to say this, but like, I'm using air quotes on this. Do not come from me when I say this, but a young guy sleeping with an older woman is like a score. Like, oh, I won. Well, if it was the other way around, if a girl did it with the guy, like, oh, girl, you were assaulted, you were taken advantage of. Which, that's I don't know. I don't think it's really like a black thing per se, but I do agree with you. I do see it a lot in black culture where it's like, we're not protecting our young black boys like we need to. Yeah. I mean, we're not protecting our black girls like we need to, but like especially those young. Boosie, I'm talking to you. I'm specifically talking to you. Because what you did to your son, grimy, you need to go to fucking jail for the rest of your life. And that would be
considered, when he gets older, he's going to constitute that as his first sexual experience. And it's like...
Speaking as someone personally who was probably also... actually, I know for a fact was preyed upon by older people from a few different points in my life. But I do remember being that age, and when you're young and you're in it, you don't really think about what you're doing. The hormones are going, they seem like a safe person to be around and do this thing with. Like, you don't know what you're doing, they're more experienced, and that like when you're younger, you kind of look at that person not as like an authority figure, and you put your trust in them to like take care of you and make sure you're not going to be hurt or uncomfortable and stuff like that. But you don't really take the time to think about the fact that what they're doing is hurting you. So my heart goes out to him. That is really rough. Hopefully, it sounds like he's worked through it, hopefully, or if he hasn't, hopefully he does start to work through it. I've done my work on working through that now as an adult. I mean, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, looking back on it, I mean, this is probably gonna sound awful. Looking back on it, I had a lot of fun, but that was because I was young and dumb and not knowing what the fuck I was doing. But let me tell you, if I ever found out this happens to any of my nephews, nieces, or anything like that, I will go to prison. Yeah. I will be underneath the jail.
So that this is not the natural sequence.
No, it is not normal. It is not natural. And this is also going to sound really weird and gross. Teenagers being frisky and exploring their sexuality is normal when it's within their age range. Right. Teenagers are going to teenager as long as it's consensual, as long as it's safe, and it's between people of appropriate age, which... that's up to you, whatever that appropriate age is. Some people think it's a little bit younger, some people think a little bit older. But
I mean, the state is very clear about what the ages are for consent. So,
but you're dating your classmate. You're both 16. You go to sweet 16. You never know, something might. Things happen. Wear protection, please, because there's some things you can't take back. But that's different. Yeah. But a young person sleeping with someone. Even if it's not that much older, because 21, 22 is not that old, but you're old enough. You're old enough to know the difference.
Yeah, if someone's 14,
you know what you're doing.
And I think it's very like telling if you are if the goal is to keep it a secret or it needs to be hidden.
You're doing something wrong.
You're doing something wrong, right? And I thought it was interesting because when he went on, it was kind of like the situation that the reason I was trying to kind of differentiate between what we think molestation is in our mind, we think about the father-daughter.
Right.
Or those situations where you're 4 or 5 years old and your mother or your father sneaking into your bedroom, or we thinking about the 6 or 7-year-old who's like going to daycare, and we're not thinking about the young men or women who are like in the stage of puberty where there may be talks of like feelings and hormones and stuff like that, and you may be around peer groups who are like, yeah, that 21-year-old wants to sleep. You're the man.
Right, when you're young, that's right. You're killing it. Even on the girl side, they're like, oh, you're such a mature man. He's so hot or whatever, right? You know,
which is still considered molestation in a sense. It's just like this younger, impressionable person was met with someone who they revered as an authority figure, and they were talked into believing that this was what was supposed to happen. Right. So I'm gonna listen to the full interview. I'll come back. I don't know when it comes out. I saw this, and I'll look for the full interview. Also shout out to you, Nia Long, doing interviews and all that. Okay, girl, you better get in your bag.
Gutter slugs. That's what these people are. Gutter slugs.
Seriously. Okay, last thing on Ocho Cinco. So we talked a little bit about Keith Lee last week and his Atlanta Gate situation where he was uproaring all the hookah lounges known to man. Okay. I don't know if you know Ocho Cinco, who was a retired football player. I believe he played for the Patriots and someone else. And I actually personally only know about Ocho Cinco because he was on a television show with another football player. But he had some comments for Keith Lee after all of this happened. He decided to go onto his platform and say that Keith Lee was single-handedly bringing down the black community and tearing down black businesses. And what credibility does he have because he has no culinary background? And why are we giving this person this much power? Right? Okay. Keith Lee decided he did not address anyone particular in the video, but he decided to come back and say this is going to be the last comment I make about this. And pretty much outline the fact that his genuineness and who he is and what he does is why he's perceived so well, and he doesn't have bad intentions, and people love to highlight the negative that he does, but they never highlight the positive. He can do 100 things positive and 2 things negative, and the 2 things negative will blow up and all these things. Ocho Cinco decided to come back with Cinco de Mayo. Please. And take his stuff back. And I think he said something like, I made some notes. So he said he didn't do his research and therefore spoke out of turn. And that now that he's seen who Keith Lee is, he appreciates what he does for the community. He feels like he is a stand-up guy and that he is telling the truth, and that now he'll start following him for food reviews and all these things. My thing is, I don't understand why niggas decide to continue to take tests they don't study for.
And be failing every time.
It's just like, you don't know about someone, so why are you speaking on the one article that you saw about them?
The one, right. Like, people are weird. People need to find hobbies. Because even... This is one thing about... And this is going to go into our topic later, actually. But there's one thing about, like, the internet and social media and stuff is, like... What made you feel so emboldened, so empowered, so motivated to get on your social media platforms and come for this person you probably never met, never talked to, know little or nothing about it? Like, I've never... Okay, I'm not going to say never. That's a lie. Because when Black Lives Are Mattering, I was beefing with these people on social media. But outside of that, I've never had the urge to just be like, let me go ahead and go on live. Sarah Sonson, girl, you a crusty, dusty, big back bitch, and you ever gonna be shit? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't really understand, girl, like, so where that comes from. I don't know what people are weird.
People have a...
Pay your bills.
People have
the first of the month is like 6 days past. Go pay your bills.
First of all, it is. Okay. I think, first of all, people are always looking for a way to feel better about themselves. So if I have to do that by putting you down, and there is a natural self-righteousness within all of us that we have to tame. And if we don't tame it, it comes out in the form of, I see you doing bad, quote unquote doing bad. I'm not doing that bad. So let me tell you how you're doing bad.
Or you could just feel better about yourself
Yeah,
on the inside.
but
You,
that
listen, you
comes
would think
from-
your shit don't stink on the inside. Just keep it to yourself.
That comes from working on yourself, though. But let me tell you something. Nobody wants to be Snow White. Nobody wants to hold up the mirror to themselves. Nobody wants to say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Because the mirror's going to tell you, not you,
It ain't
boo.
you. It ain't you, boo.
Okay? What do we do to get there, though? Nobody wants to do the work. It's like you have to, most people are more, I'm going to say comfortable. And I don't mean comfortable in the sense of like this is what they want. It's more so like it's easier for them to just ignore. And then social media also feels like everybody feels like they have an opinion. They have a part of a topic. They have all these things. So, and I mean, I see. This isn't the first time Ocho Cinco has said this. I stopped listening to him a long time ago. When he said some stuff on the show about concussion and he don't be remember what he be saying, and it's all kind of stuff that went out about him. And then recently he came out talking about he don't date black women because black women rejected him, so he only dating white women now or non-black women. And then you had the nerds say black men's bringing down. What kind of power, first of all, do you think these people be having to bring down a whole community?
Okay.
Keith Lee
I didn't know
is
who Keith Lee was until
single-handedly bringing down
this
the
happened.
black restaurant community.
Didn't even
Seriously,
know who that man was until this happened.
This
so.
man, I want to say Atlanta may have been 4 or 5 on his food tour. I think he went to L.A.
I'm sure I was bussing.
I think he went to Texas.
Oh, I know that was bussing.
I don't know all the way he went, but I know we weren't the first stop on his food tour. And he had no issues like similar to what happened in Atlanta before this. And now all of a sudden he's single-handedly bringing down the black community in the black restaurant.
Good hobbies.
People just say anything. People really just say anything.
And will. And will.
But yes, so we stand with Keith Lee on
And
this
do.
podcast for now. I mean, nobody's perfect. And
Keith Lee and his third leg. You know what I'm talking about. Ain't no business having that whole leg out there like that. Was just there. It was
Okay,
just
so
sitting
we're
there.
gonna move on to our next segment for the podcast.
Whole leg.
Because
Just a leg.
We
Well, that's one of God's favorites.
all right, so we're gonna get into this week's discussion, which is going to be centered around social media. We talked about Keith Lee and the influence that he has and how social media is like everywhere. So we're gonna talk about social media and friendship. Mickey took me way back in time, and so he asked the question of what was your first social media account and what was your username. Mickey, tell the people.
So technically speaking, my first social media account was Facebook. So you're on Facebook. You don't really have a username in Facebook. But the reason I got Facebook was because my mom really, really wanted me to get a Facebook because the whole family was on Facebook. Oh, you gotta join Facebook. The whole family's there, or whatever. We gotta play Farmville and all that stuff. So I didn't want Facebook. I really didn't care. I was at that point in my time, that was before I even had a smartphone, I think. So I didn't care about going home and logging on a computer and looking at Facebook. I just wanted to go home and play video games. I wanted to go home and do anything else but sit at that computer. But got Facebook. That was my first social media account ever.
Really?
And that's when Facebook opened up for the general public, because Facebook used to be, I think, for college students, right?
Old.
Right. Now, my first username, the first time I had a social media that involved usernames opposed to just your name, was Instagram. Instagram was my first thing like that.
Yeah.
And oh Lord, this is so cringy. My name was Malik _Uchiha, because that's when Naruto was coming out, and I was going up for my nigga Sasuke.
Come on, Sasuke.
You couldn't tell me Sasuke and Itachi weren't all best friends.
The
way I was doing the Chidori in my room. Okay, I was doing the hit. Okay, I was doing. Listen, you couldn't tell me I wasn't a Uchiha. Okay, so yeah, that was my first username on a social media account. But how about you? The reason I thought the question was very interesting because I feel like I know what your answer is going to be as far as your first social media account, like what platform it was.
You may know the first platform, but
let me take a guess.
Never guess my name.
Was it Facebook? Not Facebook. I'm sorry, MySpace.
So
Black Planet.
So technically, if we're talking about a form of people communicating with one another, it was AOL, AIM. Messenger.
That was before
AOL Messenger. Age, sex, location, ASL. Had no business in that chat room, and I didn't spend a lot of time in there. To be fair, I probably got on there like as it was dying down. I don't know, but a friend was telling me about it. I was super young. Went on there, but if we're talking about like social media in the sense of we think about you being able to post photos and like make a diary, a digital diary of yourself, the first thing would have been MySpace.
Did you do all like the coding stuff
I
and like
did.
make your background look? Yeah.
Was the coder in any CNBC, ABC show where you needed the computer? It was me.
Okay.
I was computing my MySpace. Top 5 and then went to top 10. I had music in the background. I had stars falling in the background.
The stars and stuff.
I had all kind of shooting star. I was doing all kind of stuff.
If you aren't an engineer, if you are not an actual engineer now as a former MySpace person, I want to know what you're doing. If you had a MySpace, what are you doing today?
You got to start on MySpace. You had to. So I had to. It took me some time, and the reason I said it took me back because I could not remember what my first social media name was, and so I had to do some very hard digging into my like archives of my email and stuff like that, and thankfully I was able to find some archives because I don't know if people know, but you know Facebook's been around 20 plus years at this point. That when it went from time, they archive everything, and if you didn't save it, it was gone. Right. So my first ever on AOL AIM in the chat room, I was Miss Flat Booty Death, which was a play on the song Miss Fat Booty by Mos Def. Shout out to Black on Both Sides. So
I want you to know I'll never refer to you as anything but that for the rest of your life.
I don't care. Let me tell you something.
You better be Miss Flat Booty,
I was
okay?
Miss Flat Booty, and let me tell you. So when I was younger, I wasn't. I mean, I still do have some curves, but when I was younger, I did have curves, and I had a little junk in my trunk because I was smaller. So I was like, "Oh, she got a flat stomach," but I was hanging around with hitters. You hear me? Cornbread. Peas, black-eyed peas, collard greens. They was on they Meg the Stallion, okay? I was like,
not you had booty dysmorphia.
I knew what I was. I knew how, and being Caribbean, you have shape. Don't get me wrong, but it depends. Because a lot of times we can be very top-heavy, which I am, and have smaller waists, which I also am. So I knew what I had. It didn't stop the niggas from hollering, so I had no issue with it.
And that's on period. No, I get the booty dysmorphia. My partner has junk in the trunk, and I'm like, my ass is so flat.
Didn't, but you do have junk. But you see, don't think it because when you stack it up to a stallion, you're like, oh, okay. Wow,
look like Taylor Swift over here.
I look like Taylor Swift. Nice. I just don't understand. So I did that. It was, and then on MySpace, it was Mos Def Miss Flat Booty. And I just, I was just heavy into the conscientious rap at that time. Like, it just really made an indelible mark on my heart, I guess. Mos Def, Arrested Development, Queen Latifah, all those people. So I was like, oh, this is so clever. I miss Fat Booty. No, I miss Flat Booty. Like, and it was, and I got a lot of hits actually off of that. Like I don't know if you know a lot about MySpace, but you used to be able to get hits and used to be at the top of the board where people would find you.
My sister had a MySpace, so I think I absorbed some of it from her.
I was like a little viral at that time if you think about it.
I was featured on the Snapchat highlights one time.
Yeah.
For saying good morning to Atlanta.
Come on, good morning to Atlanta. So I went from there.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I was famous.
I know what you talking
for 24 hours.
I wasn't gonna say it. Why you gotta talk about it? I know what you're talking about. I never had.
Back when you used to have the location ones, you were trying to get on it daily. I finally got on. I said, "Good morning, Atlanta," and they were like featured. I was like, "Yes, bitch." My friends like, "Oh my god, did you see?" Listen, when you got on the Snapchat highlights back in the day, you were famous for a good 24 hours. You had to take a screenshot of the Snapchat and post it on Instagram.
Because there was no tag.
Proof, you're that proof.
You had to have proof. Okay, so on MySpace, yeah, I kind of went a little viral. I'm not going to hold you. So on MySpace, if you had 10,000 more or followers, you was like a big dog. So I had got to a point where I had like maybe like 37,000 followers. I was like, because I would post all kind of stuff, and I was like posting music, and I was just doing all kind of stuff. You're never going to find me. I don't care about saying Miss Fat Booty because you'll never find it because it's been permanently. If you could think about Beyonce deleting every bad picture about her on the internet, that's what I did. It's gone. No, you'll never find her.
Is MySpace even still a website?
You'll never find it is, but you will never find Miss Flat Booty on MySpace. So I can talk about it freely, 90. I can talk about it freely now. So I went from back. I went from MySpace to Facebook, which, you know, they rolled out. And then for Facebook, I went to YouTube, which I don't know if it's really much a social platform, but I was on YouTube, and I was just, like, with my camera. It's so crazy. You start thinking about...
You were a YouTuber, too? I had a YouTuber phase. The videos are still up, but you'll never find it.
Oh, you'll never find it. There are, for my personal, you will never see those videos. I didn't delete them, but you'll never see them. Not unless you have my personal password, and try your luck on hacking. But yeah, I was actually a part. So when I got on YouTube, it was very, very skimp, and I was a natural hair girly because I've been natural hair majority of my life. It was like 5 of us, and we were just going toe for toe. I mean, I'm talking in your bedroom pixelation. Where who's
that's back
pixelated?
When y'all were wearing business cash to the clothes too.
480p max, maybe 720.
I can see the picture right now. I can see it in my head.
And I wish sometimes I'm like, dang, I stopped. Because some of the girls I went with, like the original, like it was literally an original 5, top 5 of us that we were doing it, and 3 of them kept going, and they are so major now, like they're so big, so big, so big. And I just stopped because I didn't want to do it anymore, and it was fine.
I was actually pulling up the YouTube video. We're gonna play it after this.
You gotta be your YouTube video because it ain't mine.
Oh no, I found mine.
Tumblr. I went from YouTube to Tumblr.
I went YouTube, Tumblr. I guess in the order of operations, it was Facebook, Instagram. No. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. But that's back when Tumblr had porn on it. And that was some good porn. But they don't have that anymore. You were doing porn?
I wasn't doing porn.
You were watching porn?
I was in my bikini.
Oh.
I wasn't trying.
Wait, so you posted a salacious picture?
I have.
I'm not okay. So I have a confession.
Let me tell you something.
I posted an ass pic on Tumblr before because I wanted some validation.
Did you have chaps on?
No, it was just ass.
No, I never posted anything because I wanted validation. Right. I would just be like post because I'd be like, I'm out. Let me tell you what Tumblr was for me. So people knew me on YouTube because at one point on YouTube as well, I had like 10,000 followers. People knew me on MySpace. I couldn't post it on Facebook with my auntie and my mother was at the time wasn't on there, but my classmates as class president, absolutely not, of the SGA. So Tumblr was where I would go to be like with my alias, and y'all never know my Tumblr name. I'll never tell you that. But I would post like, oh, spring break, and just like post the photos, and they would get likes, and I'm like, that's not really what I'm doing it for, but thank you.
I know, I want someone to tell me my ass is fat. Yeah. But now Tumblr is nothing in comparison to Twitter. Well, Twitter today. X. I was never a Twitter person. I've never really been much on the, like, no, that's a lie. I have been a Twitter person. Back when Twitter was Twitter. It was a thing I guess my generation did during the time, but we would, anytime there was a show coming on, well, I guess people still do that now. When there's a show coming on, you're just like tweeting about it and stuff.
Yeah, you tweet about it. And
our thing was, my whole school was pretty much in on it, was Teen Wolf on MTV.
Teen Wolf.
When Teen Wolf would come out, we would be on Twitter talking about, oh my God. Like, we were on that. It was like the talk of the town. Anytime Teen Wolf came on, we were in that hole all night talking about, I can't believe, oh my God. So yeah, I was a Twitter person for a little bit, but I stopped.
I'm still a Twitter person. So I'm still on Twitter. I joined Twitter. I actually joined Twitter against my will because one of my professors was like, join his Twitter, and some of the like study guide answers and things that you're looking for that you can't find in your book will be on Twitter. So I joined Twitter for that, and then I was like, oh, this is a fun place. And I actually never left. I don't know. Twitter can be vile. I'll say that. But I'm still on Twitter to this day, and I'm still tweeting to this day.
Oh, I have a ex Twitter, but I mean, I don't do anything with it but look at butts.
I can't stop. Twitter is so funny.
Anytime something's going on in Black World, I do go to Twitter.
And the thing about it is, because I'm not on TikTok personally.
Oh, you know I love me some TikTok.
Everything that trickles down from TikTok comes to Twitter first before it goes to Instagram. So I be on Twitter like seeing all the stuff from TikTok right after it's posted from TikTok, and I'm like, yes, I got a juice. And then it goes to Instagram. So I do have my Instagram, and then I eventually changed. I am now Baytropolis. So, but yeah, when I found that, I was like, I forgot that's what I call myself.
Come on, Miss.
I actually may change myself back to that.
Bring it back.
The conscientious rap really had a hold on me. I gotta bring it back.
I
gotta bring it back. I gotta bring the Mos Defs. I gotta bring the Queen Latifahs.
I found you, Miss
Flat Booty. I gotta bring the Nas's, the Lauryn Hill. Yeah, because it was like a play on. So the Miss Fat Booty song for Mos Def is talking about like, oh, this girl got a fat booty, she's cute, but all she wants is the money, and like she's looking for the next come up and blah blah blah. So me and my emo stage thought, I'm so clever. I'm not looking for the come up.
Okay.
I just want you for who you are, King.
Me and this flat ass wants you for your personality.
Flat booty. Look for me.
You won't find a girl with a bigger heart or a flatter ass on this side of the Mississippi River.
I'll tell you this. I made my... What was that? I made my MySpace that. A year later, I was seeing Mos Def, and he was pointing me out in the crowd. I ain't gonna say it's because he knew my handle. I'm gonna just say maybe it was chemistry. I don't know. That's what it was.
Like Beyonce pointed at that girl and said, "You ain't no diva."
Yeah, but he didn't say I wasn't no diva. He was singing to me. He was like, "Ooh, dun 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 dun." He was singing. He wasn't saying no
I love
diva.
that Delulu for you.
I'm here for it. So, okay. Talking about social media and friendship. How would you say... So, you made your first thing in Facebook.
Yeah.
Thinking about the friends that you had, I'm going to assume this was right after they opened it up to high schoolers. Because that's what you said. Did you feel like you were able to stay in contact with some of the people you went to high school with and you talked to every day via Facebook, social media, and that like played a part in you not physically reaching out to them?
So, speaking personally, social media for me back then and social media for me today are very much still the same thing. Okay. I use social media to keep up with those... I probably use this word wrong. Those ancillary friends. Those friends that are like, I care enough about you to know what's going on in your life. Like, I want to, oh yeah, you're in a relationship, congratulations. Or you're having a kid, cool, whatever. Not that people were having, okay, well, people were having kids back then and people were in relationships back then. But anyway, that's happening a lot more frequently now. But anyway, but those are for the people who like, yeah, we're friends and like we may run into each other and like I care enough about you to kind of like see what you're up to. But when it came down to seeing or like being there in person to reach out to the people I cared about, the close friend, like my close friends and family members, like I was just calling and texting you. Like, yeah, you were still close friends. We're friends on Facebook, but like, if I'm not going to use Facebook as a way or social media as a way to keep our relationship alive. Like, I care enough about you specifically where I'm like, I'm gonna call them. I'm just gonna call them. I'm just gonna text them. I'm gonna like, let's hang out in person. I will say the difference between my social media habits now versus back then was, back then I was adding anybody. We met one time, I'm adding you. We were in the club together one time, I'm adding you. We had that class together, I'm adding you. You know my sister, I'm adding you. Like, I was adding everybody. Like, anybody I could think of, I was adding. So of course there were some people in there where I was like, I don't even care about. I don't even know this person. Like, I don't really know who this person is really. Like, we maybe worked on a project together and I was like, let's add each other on Facebook. Or like, you know, you were a friend of a friend and I added you on Facebook. So like those situations, not so much. Like, I obviously wasn't reaching out to those people. Nowadays though, I will say I'm much more deliberate about what I follow and who I follow. One, because I know social media can be kind of rough on my brain sometimes, but I only be following people I know specifically or people I look up to. And that's pretty much it. That's the only people I follow on social media.
So have you ever had like a pen pal or someone that you've communicated with that you consider a friend just via social media?
Like,
maybe you all have never met, but
I had friends like that where like it started off of Facebook or it started off like the internet, where the case may be, and we just kept contact that way. Most of those relationships fell off, or I have now met that person in person. I actually have a story about that. I might have told this story before, I don't know. But I was going to a music festival in Seattle. Never been to Seattle a day in my life. Never been to this venue. It was my first time doing a camping festival. Like, I had a lot of questions that I just needed answers to because my anxiety was just like, we're going across the country to a camping festival, and like, what do you even do with this kind of thing? So I was on the Facebook group. No, I keep saying Facebook, Instagram, Meta, all that person. I was on Instagram and I was scrolling through like comments on the post about the event. So I was just looking at different people's posts and like comments, stuff like that or whatever. And one person commented like, "Oh, can't wait to have all these amazing people in Seattle. It's gonna be such a great time." I was like, that person seems positive. I'm gonna see what that person's about. So I went to his page, followed him. He followed me back. I messaged him. I was super transparent. There's one thing about me. I'll be super transparent with you. If I'm messaging you or whatever, I'll be like, hey, this is what this is about. I just want to let you know. So I was like, hey, listen, I've never been to Seattle. I've never been to Washington. I don't know what this venue's like. I don't know what to bring. I'm really nervous and stuff like that. And he was the most kind, friendly. He was like, I got you. Here's a list of things you should get. Here's some places to check out. If you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, here's my number. Reach out to me or whatever. We're gonna have a great time. We'll love to hang out or whatever. And I know in today's day and age, you might have to look at that and be like, are you gonna try to kill me? Like, are you a murderer? But something about his interaction, like, seemed very genuine. Like, he even like reached out to me via like Instagram video, and we talked for a while, and it wasn't like a sexual thing. It wasn't anything like that. He was just a very friendly person. So got to Seattle, we ended up meeting at the festival. He introduced me to all his friends. He introduced me to his girlfriend or wife now, and it was a great time. So while it was a very short pen pal relationship, because it was only maybe like 2 months that we were chatting, I do remember meeting that friend. I started to talk about that experience. I know you listened to the podcast too, so there's your story.
That's fair. I only smiled because I was like, the whole thinking about the short distance and being like, well, you can meet up and we can do this. If you feel like it's genuine, for sure.
I mean, I wasn't being dumb. I met him at the festival and surrounded by thousands of people. So, I wasn't like, oh yeah, let's meet this back alley or whatever.
And then do this.
But, he was super cool. Super, super cool. His friends super cool. Everyone loved them. Shout out to those people. Like I said, I know you listen to the podcast, so I will come visit you soon. I promise. I will come out there. It's been on my docket. I just hadn't had a chance to do it.
I mean, we've talked about long distance friends. We can revisit the subject. It is what it is. Like, life happens. You have to do what you have to do.
What about you? Do you have any social media pen pals or anything like that?
I think it's interesting because your first pen pal was via social media, and people don't think about pen pals.
I actually had a written pen pal back in elementary school. We had one of our projects was writing letters to soldiers, and me and the soldier were writing back and forth. Very nice guy. Hope you're doing good, Grayson. Yeah. was super sweet, but yeah, you know, it was just one of those like it was like
Was
part of
it
the
like one of
program.
those situations where they would just like write a letter to a soldier, or did you expect the soldier to write back to you?
We wrote it to the soldiers. It was kind of up to them if they wanted to write back, but
Yeah.
he wrote me back. I remember, back when you're in elementary school, you think about like super wholesome things, like I hope you have a good Christmas, and I hope things are going well, whatever. And I
Yeah.
think he sent me back a picture of like him and his family like enjoying Christmas, or I think he had came back or something like that. But shout out to you, dude. He was fun for the 2 letters we wrote to each other.
I did have a pen pal. I think it's interesting to just think like I feel like pen palship has transferred to social media a little bit. Like people just DM and
faster.
it's like it's faster. It's people don't write letters anyway. It's just kind of like I can reach you very much so quickly, and you can decide if you want to answer or not. Which I don't know if it's better or worse. I mean, I feel like if you get a letter in the mail, people don't know people's addresses anymore anyway, so it's just easier to do it through social media. But I did grow with a pen pal. We had a pen pal that I got in grade school, and I talked to them through high school. Like and I have a friend who actually they kept their pen pal. They are still friends with their pen pal. So they got their pen pal, I want to say grade school. Kept writing. Their pen pal was international. Mine was too, but we kind of fell off at some point. I don't remember exactly what happened. And they eventually met. Like in person as adults, like maybe 15, 20 years later.
Oh, wow.
And it was cool, and it was like, yeah, and it was a really good experience for them, and they still stay in contact. And I don't know, I feel like there was surface, or like there was purpose in having the pen pal. I can see why now it's a little off-putting, because people's addresses, it's just like kind of ridiculous now. You can't put somebody's address out there. But I feel like now social media is the current pen pal.
Absolutely. I mean,
So it's
it's
just
like I said, it's faster, more accessible.
Yeah.
Not that pen and paper aren't accessible, but these stamps be expensive. But definitely faster. There's more forms of it. Like you can video call. You can just talk on the phone.
Which I just learned you could video call on Instagram.
Right.
You could do that.
So definitely agree. It's definitely the new form of pen pal. I think what's interesting is like how pen pals are formed now in comparison back in the day. Like you mentioned, you got yours in grade school. I don't know how that happened. I don't know if it was just like
It was a
pen
sign.
pals. It was what?
Assigned.
It was assigned. Okay, so you got yours assigned. Likewise here. I don't think they do that anymore. I would have to ask my nephews if that's something they do anymore. I don't think so. They've never really mentioned it.
Probably not.
Probably not. But like
I don't
now,
even, do
so
they do pen pals still?
that's why I'm going to ask them. Like, do you guys even do that anymore? But like, I feel like now, like the new form of pen pal is like we laughed at the same comment on TikTok, and now we're messaging each other or something like that. Like, or I posted this thing and you liked it, and you messaged me. Like I actually posted some DJ stuff the other day, and someone messaged me, and they're like, "Oh, the super cool. I'm trying to get myself out there too." And we've been talking back and forth. So I definitely think the pen pals definitely have moved to social media. Just 'cause I feel like that's, like I said, a little bit easier. It makes a little bit more sense just for the speed and convenience of it. You don't have to wait like 2 weeks for your letter to get to the other side of the world, and then vice versa. Even though I will say the anticipation of getting your letter back was a lot of fun, because you're like, ooh, I can't wait for them to write. Like, did it come in the mail? Did it come in the mail or whatever? Right. So you would be asking your parents, did it come in the mail? Be like, what you getting mail for? Like, what you mean? Right. So, but it's also, like I said, it's still exciting depending on the situation. Like I said, I got super excited to meet my friend out in Seattle. Like I said, I will be out there one day. But I have a question for you as far as social media goes. On a whole, do you think social media has been a positive or a negative for, of course, friendships, obviously, but relationships as a whole?
I think that it's both. So
Both of them. Both of them.
there's a narrative that social media is connecting worlds of people around who would have never had the opportunity to connect themselves before, which is great. And it's so good that people get to see things that they never would have seen before, because growing up, let me say, in my age, culture was had with traveling, and I'm not saying that has been eradicated with social media. Like, you still need to be able to go to certain places to understand what's happening, but I feel like social media has opened up a lot of people's eyes to see things they never would have ever seen on, national television or wherever, the news, whatever. So I feel like, I don't think it's necessarily hindering or closing down any kind of like connection per se for people who want connection.
Right.
So if you're someone who does desire to get out and meet people in real life and go forth and do these things, I don't think it's it's just expanding those horizons. What I do feel, and I don't want to say fear, but what I'm noticing is it also gives people jurisdiction to still not be able to get out there and meet people in real life. And so my concern is that there is there are factors about things that you'll never learn if you don't get out and meet people in real life.
True.
And I know there are people who feel more comfortable in side or in fantasy, even in gaming. I've known people, I've had gaming retreats, and we've had things where like we've met up and like somebody's like, no, I'm not coming.
Right.
And it's like, okay, like we know that person just doesn't like coming outside. You will never know someone for who they are if you don't meet them in person.
At least not fully.
Not fully. And that's not to say like that's going to keep you from getting hurt. That's going to keep you from like not feeling pain or anything like that. It's just like I feel like social media took away the courage of people to have to go out and meet people. Or like elevated it, I would say that. Because people were already inside and they weren't coming out. So it was just like, oh, I'm not coming out. And then social media is like, oh, I really don't have to come out now.
I can see where you're coming from on that. I agree with you on a lot of what you're saying. I'm also on the team, both of them. I do think social media can be very healthy.
Yeah.
Not to harper back to my specific example, but the example I had about me meeting that friend online, or the example of I was a part of this like music group, and we would all have like get-togethers and gatherings and all this other stuff. So it is definitely, and I feel like a lot of people can attest to this, it definitely can be a place to build community and feel camaraderie and feel welcomed. Like, you may not be surrounded by a lot of like-minded people. You might be super left-leaning, let's go gays, I'm a video game nerd.
Or you may.
Or in the middle of Kentucky, and you can't really be around people like that. So, you find those communities and those groups online that can make you feel connected and make you feel like you have people out there in the world who are like you. But,
okay, so to I want to clarify. So you're saying this as someone who's like maybe online in an area, like let's say Kentucky, and their views don't skew, but they're talking to people in like California.
Right, like social
and they don't have the opportunity to like meet up with people who have the same views in their area.
More, pretty much what I'm getting at, but even outside of that, like even if it's not you, even if you live in a place that like is surrounded by people that think like you, but maybe you want to hang out with people or talk to people who are really into Baldur's Gate, or you want to talk to people who are really into Spider-Man, or whatever the case may be. Like, you may not be able to just do that outside. Like, it may be easier for you to just be like, let's go on Reddit and look at a Baldur's Gate group or whatever, and whatever the case may be. But like I said, I think social media is very beneficial for helping you establish connections and build those communities and stuff like that, especially online where, you know, it's a little bit more accessible, where like you don't have to worry about traveling or flying or whatever the case may be. But the other side of social media, which I think is very dark, and it kind of attests to a study that was just posted, I think, like a few weeks ago. It's been an ongoing study about, you know, pretty much the effects that younger people are feeling in regards to growing up with social media. Like, you didn't grow up with social media. That came towards the end of your, not the end of your life. That came towards the end of your adolescence, I'm sure. And as you be, like, I'm probably, if I had to take a guess, MySpace was probably something when you were like 15, 16 maybe.
I was in middle school. Probably.
Middle school, okay. Okay, cool. I didn't always grow up with social media. Like, social media didn't really enter my life until I was in, like, high school, middle school, and stuff like that. Like, things like that existed, like AIM or BlackBerry Messenger or things like that, but I wasn't really growing up with it. This is the generation, like my nephews, they'll never know a world that social media didn't exist.
Not a word without Instagram, but my question is, how did you avoid things like YouTube and Vine and AOL and even like a MySpace? I mean, I know MySpace like started to lessen the garner of a star when Facebook came out, but like, how did you not see those, or like, did you just
this
not ignore
phone
it?
right here in my hand? The reason that it's so accessible for kids and stuff like that to get on social media is smartphones.
But like, what about your computers? Or because we weren't getting on AOL on our smartphones.
I mean, I wasn't avoiding YouTube, but YouTube wasn't a thing until I was older. YouTube didn't exist when I was in elementary school or middle school. I mean, it might exist towards the end of middle school, but YouTube wasn't a thing back when I was in elementary school. I was going outside and playing. Like, my nephews have smartphones. I had a flip phone. There wasn't going on Facebook. Right. There wasn't, I'm just chilling at home. Let me go ahead and go open up Facebook, or let me do this, that, and the third. Like, if I was at school, I didn't have a smartphone to scroll through stuff. If I wanted to use social media, I had to go home and use the shared computer that my mom or my dad or my sister were also using. So it was really easy to avoid those kind of things because I just didn't have access to it. You know,
I mean, we
nowadays you can get a $200 smartphone and you on Instagram in, you know, an hour.
Yeah, I'm only asking because, like, for the most part, like, when I was on MySpace, when I was on AOL, that wasn't on my phone. That was on my computer. I was, like, going home. I was, like, logging into AOL. I was doing MySpace. I had my flip phone in college, which I don't even know if it had access to the internet. I can't remember. I feel like the first time my phone had access to the internet, they were charging me to have access to the internet. So,
even so, you probably weren't scrolling through. Well, the point I'm getting at is ultimately is that because social media is so accessible to especially younger people, it kind of leads to what you were saying about people not having the, I don't want to use the word gall, but the motivation to meet people in person or things like that. Like, yeah, you can use social media, make communities and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, social media can also be really lonely. Like, that's what I was saying as far as the report goes. Like I said, it was posted a few weeks ago, I believe, but Gen Z, my nephew's generation, the first generation to have social media from birth, pretty much, is the loneliest generation. They shouldn't be the loneliest generation because they have the most access to all this technology that you and I didn't really have growing up. We got it later in life, but like we didn't have, like we weren't getting smartphones at 7, 10 years old. There was no iPads or whatever. There was none of that.
No.
There was some Uno cards and your bike, and that okay, maybe and some Jenga if you're feeling fancy.
We got a Nokia.
Okay,
Snake.
Then that was it. So there wasn't like access to that kind of stuff, and if you did have access to it, you probably had money.
No, I don't even think
but it also didn't exist. But like, you know, stuff like iPhones and stuff didn't exist back then. But like now, you can go get yourself a smartphone for $200, and you know, it makes sense for that today's day and age. Say it's scary, and you want to probably get your child a phone so they can keep contact with you, and you can have their location and know where they are and who they're talking to and stuff like that. So there's benefits to letting children have phones. I'm not gonna say you shouldn't let your child have a phone, but maybe not an iPad. But moving on past that. So I see the benefit of it, but again, because I feel like social media is so accessible. Like when we were younger, we had to go outside. What were we gonna do? Sit at the computer and look at AOL all day? Like, I mean, I guess you could have, but you know,
Well,
we
when
were
I
going
was
playing.
older,
Right, we were going outside playing on
it was
bikes.
yeah.
We were going playing manhunt and hide and go seek and stuff like that. We were doing after school, activities and stuff like that. And I know kids are doing that today, but most kids, they go home, they want to get right on TikTok. They want to go right on that couch and watch it. That's all they have. That's what they're used to. So, of course, I feel like that comes with like a edge of loneliness. Where like, yeah, we're talking and we're sending each other memes, but like, nothing beats the company of a physical person like around you. So
yeah, that's what I feel like with social media. It's just kind of like because I had pen pals and I did talk to people who I may have never met or had an encounter with physically, but I also had my friends who were with me, and we could do X, Y, Z, and we could just go out and just so. I'm just like trying to figure out like because both of our nieces and nephews are like growing up in a situation where it's like social media. That's how you like talk. You are like sending messages. We used to send like sub tweets, they would call it, or like sub instas, or stuff. Like memes, or like vines, or like whatever on Tumblr. You would send to someone and you would hope that they would see it. Like now, they don't have any. I would say like true connection with the individual, or do you know like if they do? Do your nieces and nephews still have like sleepovers and stuff?
We're black. We don't do sleepovers.
Oh no, we do sleepovers.
Oh no, my family. Well, that's not true. They don't. It's not like they don't do sleepovers. But my family, they're like, we're doing sleepovers. They do it at our house because we can't trust anybody else. But
yeah, my sister does sleepovers.
Anyway, but I mean, listen, I had to beg my parents to do sleepovers when I was younger. But anyway, but everyone else had cooler houses than I did, and there was more fun over there. My parents,
you thought it was cool?
I know
because it wasn't your house,
probably,
or was it actually cool?
No, it was pretty cool sometimes. So I had some pretty nice friends. I had some friends that had a lot of money. But anyway, I think it just depends on who you're asking in the situation. Like, but I don't know enough about my nephew's friends. I want to say most of them come from school, but I don't know. But I do know he'd be on the games and on TikTok and stuff with his friends and stuff like that. But like I said, I think it depends, like what you put into it. Like you could just have that very surface level. We just send each other memes and I just react to your Instagram story and we keep it super surface level kind of friendship. But of course, probably don't feel very connected to that person. Like they could probably disappear on social media and be like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. And then that would be it. But like other people who you deliberately put the time to get to know and like develop something with, I feel like it just kind of depends, like my situation with my friend. I put effort, he and I both put effort into establishing a connection over the medium we had. We easily could have just been like, hey, I need some help, here you go, and kept it pushing, left it like that. So I guess it depends on the situation. Honestly, it depends on the person, depends on what they're trying to get out of the situation. I feel like I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna feel on that one, honestly, as far as your question goes.
I think my last question would be like, so I don't know if you've ever been close to someone and then you kind of start to drift apart, but you're using social media to like keep up with their life, or maybe they're using social media to keep up with your life, like with regards to like connectivity. Like, do you feel like it was the same for you to be able to see what was happening with their life on social media, or even your life, and they were seeing what was happening with your life, versus like talking physically as much as you used to, or like seeing one another as you used to? Because we all have people who move away, do things, they see us, they comment, we have these interactions via social media, and it's like, okay, do you still feel as close to them?
No, I'm not gonna hold you. No. Like I said, when it comes to the social media and my relationships and stuff like that, the ones that impact me most are the ones I typically like. I'm calling you or we're hanging out and stuff like that. For those friends that like we grew apart or like, you know, life goes on, people, obligations change, things happen, you drift apart, whatever. But yeah, like I could see them announce a baby on social media, and like part of me, I mean, like, I'll be happy for them. Like, yeah, congratulations. I'll even comment congratulations, but I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, this is so exciting. Like, it doesn't really like impact me like that. Like, I really don't. I care, but I don't care. If that makes sense.
Like a situation where not even if it's that like elongated per se, but like maybe you all talk via text message, but certain things don't come up in text messages. So they're like, oh, we're pregnant, and they tell you, and then you don't hear about it until they announce it on social media. And like, oh, we've given birth to the baby. You know what I mean? It's like a...
I personally speaking don't particularly care about that kind of stuff. You know, people have reasons for keeping certain things a secret. You know, I don't talk about every single thing going on in my life to everybody all the time. So a situation like that probably wouldn't bother me too much. Like if one of my friends just posted on social media the other day, like, oh, I had a baby, I would be like, okay, cool, you were pregnant. Congrats, I guess. Like, I wouldn't really think twice about it. Now, if you did that to me, yes, we would have a problem, but I see you in person all the time. So there's a difference.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I moved away, like let's say I move away and I'm like, I tell you I'm pregnant, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm expecting a baby, blah blah blah, and like all these things happen. Let's say I tell you I'm pregnant now, which is what, November?
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have my baby in August next year. And I don't do a lot of communication. Because whatever. Who knows?
Right.
And then August comes and I post on social media and I'm like, gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Blah, 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 blah. Like, how do you feel at that point? Like, do you feel like I should have told you or...
No. I don't, one, because I'm not your baby daddy, so it's fine. But one, you already told me you were pregnant. Two, because I'm logically speaking, my brain would be like, one, having a child is a lot of work, so you probably just forgot. Two, I'm not fucking you, I'm not paying your bills, like I'm just your friend. You don't have to tell me that, like immediately. Maybe it slipped your mind. Maybe you had a C-section. Maybe that baby had a size of like a football head, and you were just like, I needed some time. I needed a break. It slipped. I got mommy brain, so I forgot to text you. Yeah. So. You know, situations like that, no, I'm not going to be here and act salty or whatever. I think the thing that I will say, there's one thing that's there's one social media behavior that will make me upset or used to make me upset, and that's seeing your alleged group of friends hanging out without you. Like if you see like the group picture and you're like, wait a second, hold up, like I didn't
see. That's what. Okay, so
that would upset me, but like your situation, no, that wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't think twice about it.
That's fair. Okay, I want to. That's a good point because if
I didn't know she was asleep.
Go ahead and ride back. It's fine.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Come on, my husband.
Please.
Right.
Please.
Go
ahead.
Meow.
Go ahead.
Okay. Period.
Okay.
Purr. Literally.
Okay. I forgot my point. Okay. Wait. Okay. Okay.
Actually,
So,
I'm gonna say a point here real quick. Another thing I will say is I feel like social media gives people the notion, like, and again, you're. And before I even say that, you're not obligated to tell anybody anything about your life.
Please tell
like
them.
you don't have to.
Social media or not, you don't have obligation.
You don't have to. You could have a whole child and not tell your mama.
Yep.
It's really not that big. I mean, should you? I don't know. That's not up to me to decide, but you really can. You ain't got to tell anybody anything. But anyway, what I was gonna say was I feel like social media does give people the excuse or it gives them the perception of an excuse that I posted on social media. That is me telling you, like, what do you like? I told you, like, I had a baby. It's on social media. Did you not see my post or whatever? Like, I've had people do that to me before. Be like, oh, what are you up to? Or like, what are you doing? Like, I posted it on social media. I'm like, girl, I'm not checking your social media like that. I'm not keeping up with you like that. Just tell me what you're doing.
Well, so here's my thing. There are two things with that. My social media is my social media. So if I want to put that I'm pregnant, or I have given birth, or I got married, or I graduated, or whatever I did, I went to the Niagara Falls, or I just went to the Netherlands, that's me. I have the jurisdiction to do that. That's my page.
Right.
If I am involving someone else and I say I'm tagging people, then maybe you have the jurisdiction to say, oh, you never said you were having a baby. If I post my baby on my social page, that's my baby and my social page. I have no quorums or no I have no dealings to be like, hey, I did this and you should know. This is what I feel like. Social media is very like condensed in the sense like everyone feels like they have an opinion, and the opinions can vast between people you know and people you don't know. And if someone feels like they know you and you don't give them what they feel like they should know, they may respond in a way that's like, well, why wouldn't you tell me? Or XYZ. And it's just like,
because I don't have to.
I can do actually what I want to do. Social media has given people the jurisdiction to feel very opinionated.
I think it makes people feel like they're accessible to people. Like
accessible.
They have access to these people.
They are
like,
just
because
like,
I posted it on social media, girl, doesn't mean it's any of your business. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like, but that is the catch-22 of social media, because if you post it to the World Wide Web, which inevitably you are doing that when you post it to social media, anybody can comment whatever they want to. So it's just like, you have to understand, like, I have had situations where I necessarily wasn't so close with someone anymore. And it wasn't because we didn't talk about it. I was just like, I just want to do XYZ. And then I posted something on social media and they were like, out of pocket. I had to delete the comment. This is the first time I've ever had to delete a comment. I was like, wait a minute. You are just saying something out very outrageous right now. And I was like, why do you feel like you could say that? Because I've known you since 8th grade.
Okay.
First of all, I'm 25 years old. I'm not the same person I was when I was in 8th grade.
Right.
I don't even know what age 8th grade is at this point. Maybe 13, 12?
Yeah, something like that.
11?
Maybe.
Half my life. I'm going like, I'm an adult now. Like, you can't do those kind of things. So I do feel like I would love to see pen pals happen on social media now.
Like I said, I feel like that's something that does actively happen. Like it's just, like I said, it's just a lot quicker because you can.
DMs
I can DM
now.
someone in Germany right now, and they're going to get it in a couple seconds.
Yeah, but you have to get the physical letter, and nobody wants to give out.
Now establishing a pen pal on social media—that's a different thing. I thought you meant like having the pen pal interaction. I was like, you can't really copy that via unless you were to have a pen pal app where you write something and it doesn't reveal to the other person for like a certain period of time.
And that's what I think. I think social media, like, I mean, before when we had the addresses, that did pose a security threat, but I feel like for now, honestly, it really is like man, we could have something, but this is a privacy threat. Like, this could pose a really security threat. If I give you my address, you could just do all kinds of stuff.
That's why I think they had us write soldiers, because you probably can trust us. Well, no, you can trust.
Yeah,
a soldier,
soldiers have a
theoretically you
boxes.
right. You kind of have to, you can kind of put your trust in a soldier probably a little bit more, because like
And, and it's not a home.
right, it's via the school,
Yeah,
so they're
so.
kind of monitoring it, but yeah. Ultimately, I think social media is a good thing for relationships and friendships, but also can be really detrimental for a few reasons. Like I said, you feel like you have access to people that you really don't have access to. Especially like celebrities. People think that celebrities are their best fucking friends. Taylor Swift does not know your first name. She doesn't know what you look like. She don't care what you look like.
That's a whole
all she cares is about the fact that you bought her merch and that you were in Club Swifty.
And she honestly doesn't even know that. Honestly, like that comes into the wanting to have a voice, because these celebrities, they don't be knowing.
Okay, Beyonce probably didn't go on social media. She probably even got her Instagram. Some Blue Ivy handles her Instagram.
You mean Blue Ivy's assistant?
You're right. Blue Ivy's assistant handles Beyonce's Instagram, because Beyonce ain't doing it. Beyonce ain't on
nobody
Instagram.
like looking at that and like
Miss Good Puss.
Yeah, these social media accounts that you're going for that are like celebrities, you're wasting your breath. You're wasting your time.
They do not know you. Even if they reply to you, it was probably their assistant. Yeah, between being too accessible to people, people not posting their real selves on there. I actually have someone who, I don't know them personally, but they specifically always post every single day about just how their day was. If it was crappy, they talk about it. If it was a good day, they talk about it. Every day they post, which I appreciate, because social media, including myself, you put your best foot forward. I'm not posting me, oh, I just, got broken up with, or, oh, I had a bad day, or woe is me. I'm not posting that shit. Some people do, and shout out to you. That's really authentic, and I really appreciate that. Honestly, like, speaking wholeheartedly, but it is kind of hard to like really establish a connection with people online, because you're also only being faced with this very curated, very specific version of them. Like, if you talk to me on social media, you probably think like, oh, this guy is a DJ, he's so funny, blah 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 blah, he got his shit together, he works at this job, he has the car, yada yada yada. I'm in shambles. My car was just hit by a deer. Okay, you won't know that. Okay, you will never know that. Okay, you listen to this podcast. Like, I am in shambles daily.
The socials.
I am stressed all the time. So, it is. I guess it is hard to establish, and I should have thought about that earlier. But it is. I guess it is hard to establish an authentic connection with people online more often than not, because that person is presenting a very specific version of themselves to you. And it's pretty easy to do that because you can hide behind a screen. Like, if you can hide the fact that you pick your nose, and you be calling your waiters bitches and stuff like that, because they're not around to know that. They're not around to see you do that. So you're building a relationship with this version of someone that may not even be real.
They get to cultivate the relation. They get to cultivate the person that you see. Right.
I want you to understand that most people on social media you see are not 100% of what you see.
Absolutely not.
So, like I said, some people are a little better about that.
But
shout out to those people.
I have reached out to people on Instagram that I feel like we could really be friends. And some people have like show me who they actually are, and I'm like, okay, well,
I lied. And that's not to say people can't do that in real life, but it's easier for you to slowly pick up on, are you lying? Is this a front, or is this actually who you are versus online? All I got to work off of is what you not verbally, but what you type to me.
Yep.
So, you may be saying A, but you mean Z. When in person, you saying A, but I can tell you mean Z. But social media, it is what you get out of it. I do feel for the younger generation, those who will not really know a world without it, because I'm not gonna lie, the world without social media was lit. Okay, we were out here. It gave you the
opportunity to really like learn people. You would go out in your neighborhoods and you would just like
that's probably why a lot of people are paranoid. I personally have a love-hate thing for relationship. I love it for being able to connect with like-minded people. I like it for the fact that I can follow people that inspire me, maybe like DJs or music producers, or I can keep up with like my family and things like that. But there is a part of me that wishes like I could just be social media-less forever. I've tried to be social media-less, and I've done it for a long period of time. I think I went like a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years without a single lick of social media, and it was great. It was really nice, but at the same time, I did feel disconnected from my friends and my family and stuff like that, which is the other side, I feel like, of social media, where like, because everyone's kind of involved in it, and people use that as a way to kind of like update people about their lives. Like, oh, I got married, I have a kid, blah, blah, blah. People aren't doing that extra step to still reach out to that person and be like, oh, hey, did I tell you I got pregnant? Or, hey, did I tell you like I got married, whatever the case may be? Because, you just assume, oh, I'm on social media, they'll just see it that way. So like, for me, when I was without social media, I was missing all kinds of updates. People graduating, people having kids, people getting married and stuff like that. Yeah. And I didn't take it personally. Well, I'm not gonna lie. At the time, I did take it personally. I was like, did you just like forget about me because I don't have like an account? Like, did you just like don't care about me? But that's just kind of where we live in now, where it's like everyone's kind of like on social media. So I feel like that's like the social norm to just post on it and just assume that like the people you care about are gonna see it. But not everyone has social media, but it also sucked because I wasn't getting updates for like events about like, oh, this DJ's coming to town or whatever the case may be. That's why I started doing like those newsletter things on like their websites and stuff. But
yeah, I just feel like for social media, it's not a terrible thing because it does open or broaden the horizons for people to do things, but that inclusivity that happens where you're like telling the people who you feel like are close to you these events is X'd out.
Right.
So I feel like there has to be a balance between like, okay, like there's a connectivity that happens with me and my followers or people that I have on social media versus the inclusivity of people who I know care about the things that are happening, like verbatim they've been following, versus even like privacy issues, because if you post things, it could be like they're looking for you, people dox, people do all kinds of stuff. So I just feel like there's a thin line that has to happen there for people. I'm not at a point where now I have so many followers that I feel in danger or like people are like looking for me or anything like that, but I feel like the people who the celebrities or different things that are at the realms that they have things where they post and they can't win, or they have like things that they post that they think are good and they come out bad. Like, first of all, post to your friends, your private friends. And then like I feel like you have to have a understanding that there's no way to please everyone, and so the more followers you have or the more things that happen in, like, people are going to disagree and the connection's not going to be as strong as you thought it was.
Right.
So just as long as you can protect yourself in a privacy way, like your housing, your locations,
post your vacation
family,
back.
Right, your family locations, all those kinds of things are like condensed and not foreseen. I think you should be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so final thoughts on social media and friendship.
Like I said, it is what you make of it, but it's also something that I am very curious with how it's going to affect the general population in multiple years from now. Like I said, it's very interesting that the group that should on paper really not be the loneliest, the group that's going to school, who's doing extracurricular activities, who's spending a lot of time with their peers because they have to between going to school and all that stuff, is also the one advising that they're the loneliest group of anybody, which don't worry, it gets worse when you're an adult. I can promise you that. You slowly lose friends more and more every day. I think I'm down to like 4 friends and a cat. Tragic. So, that is very interesting to me. I'm very curious what that's going to look like in the future. I get kind of like a first row seat to it because I have nieces and nephews that are full blown Gen Z. So, social media is an interesting place. Can be very toxic, can be very, very rough, can really make you feel like shit about yourself or about the world around you. But it is what you make of it. Just be careful who you're following. Be careful. Keep a level head. Take breaks, honestly. I don't think people take enough social media breaks. Like, I say at least once a year, take like a solid like month off. Just delete the social medias and just find some other stuff to do. Make it 2 months. In fact, I'm coming up for my renewal. I need to go ahead and delete these social medias for a little bit.
Come off.
I
agree.
How about you?
take some time off from social media. I definitely feel like there's a thin line between feeling like you're connected to someone and you actually know who they are. So even the people who you grew up with, or you're like, because this is coming from someone who like grew up on Facebook, and we would see people who we went to high school with. We would see people, and then like they just are not the people that we knew them to be. That's not a part of who we are. They are growing. They are doing what they need to do. You just need to let that go. So we're in an era where Instagram and TikTok and different things are like, you will hold people accountable for the one things that they say, and people should be accountable for the things that they say, but you also need to know that that is not who they are, and if they say something else, you need to take in account everything that happens. So don't get infatuated, and don't negate. So if you want to be friends with someone on social media, take into who they are in totality, and then also watch what they do. So if they post one thing that you like, that could be cute, but they may also post another thing that you don't like. So you just have to pay attention to that. I also feel like social media has made it very easy for people to become accessible to other people who are in their same thoughts. So you can also use that as ammo. So if you want to find someone who likes puppy dogs, or they like anime, or they like Family Guy, or they like these things, you can look that up and you can find someone within social media who likes those specific things that you like. And
exactly.
Yeah, so you just need to just like look at that and figure out your group. Even if you find them and you're like, oh man, I found you, you still need to vet them. You still need to be aware of who they are as a person. Don't take for what they say on social media as who they are. Because a lot of people pose as things on social media and they're not that. So just be mindful. Go out there. Make friends. I've made friends on social media. I don't want to say that it's not possible. I have DM'd. You cannot be afraid to find people that you feel like are in your conglomerate, that are in your arena. Just DM them and figure out what you need to figure out on your own. Just pay attention. So that's my final thought. And we have the quote of the day.
Period, Pooh.
Social media has given us the idea that we should have a posse of friends, when in reality, if we have one or two really great friends, we are lucky. Brene Brown.
Come on, Miss Brown. Hit them with the social so we can go to bed.
Well, you know where to find us. We are...
Because we're all tired. I can feel
okay.
it.
So you can find us on all socials. We are at Funny Podcast. That's FUNIPODCST. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. That's on TikTok. You can also find us at funnypodcast@gmail.com. I'm sorry, actually not Funny Podcast. You can find us at Friendship University Podcast @gmail.com. Send in everything you need to tell us. Friendship quotes. Friendship gossip. We're just looking for, just rate us on the socials. You know, we just want to keep coming to you week after week. And that's something you can do that doesn't cost a lot, and we really, really, really appreciate it. So rate us on whatever platform you're listening on. We would love it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Peace.